Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's time for another edition of Weber This Week here on FingerLakes1.com. On an amazingly hot day for the month of September, we're talking over 90, 91 or 92. It's pretty amazing, and we got a couple more days of this, and then, of course, it's going to go into the 60s. Today, we spotlight a legendary restaurant, a restaurant that has been positioned over on Routes 5 and 20 as you head to Waterloo from Seneca Falls on the left side. Of course, I'm referring to Abigail's. Today, my good friend Liz Comatis is in here, and Liz is the manager of Abigail's. And Liz, thanks a lot for coming in.
Thanks for having me, Harold. It's great to be here.
No problem. Let's talk a little bit about Liz. I was thinking about you this morning as I prepared for the show, and certainly your background speaks volumes of where you've been. Like, for example, you were born in New York City. Then you moved on to Geneva, New York, correct?
Correct.
And then you decided, got involved a little bit with the restaurant business at an early age, and then you decided to go to Niagara University for college, right?
Yep, I went to Niagara for 2 years, and from there I was offered an internship at Walt Disney World.
Now, how long were you at Walt Disney? How long?
6 years.
6 years. Did you ever think regarding, that's perfect, regarding the internship, did you ever think, was that a turning point, a detour of your career based on where you are today, that you may have stayed with them and maybe became an executive with that corporation? They're obviously one of the best wonders of the world.
Parts of me would have liked to have stayed longer and seen where I could go, but I couldn't imagine raising my family without my family around me. So it was great at the time, but as I was growing older and looking into having kids, having my family around me was more important.
That's interesting. And you came back to take part in the business aspect of Abigail's, and certainly you were involved in probably all the menial effects to help out your Aunt Patty, of course, along with your mom, Jean, and your Uncle Billy. Talk about when you first came back and got involved in the business. I guess you were, like you mentioned in your bio to me, you were able to learn how to carry a tray of food and drink orders and sweep the floors and do whatever you had to do, right, to help out?
Like basically when I learned how to walk, I think they gave me a tray at the same time. But yeah, I've worked my way up, and especially having the experience at Disney, I've done, dishes at Abigail's. I've been behind the bar. I've done salads. I had my first chance at expediting behind the line last weekend, a job I don't want.
Well, the restaurant business is unique, and of course, just so everybody knows, the Abigail's was founded in 1984 in its present location, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's been there, some 33 years?
Correct.
And as you think about Abigail's, I use the term legendary. I talk about the fact that my wife Mary and myself obviously have frequented the place. I recall spending a lot of time at Abigail's when I was with Gould's. We used to go there and bring a lot of customers, as you recall, to dinner, etc. And I have very fond memories. But as you got involved in the business at Abigail's, of course, let's talk about the ownership. It's owned by your mom, Jean, along with your Aunt Patty and Billy, correct?
Yes. Yep.
And I should be obviously open to everybody. I have a very fondness to the Lagat family because myself and Mary got married some 51 years ago, and it was 1966. And where do we have our reception? Where else? The Club 86. And a gentleman who I got to know quite well, Jimmy, great guy. And I think Bill was helping out in the kitchen, if I recall correctly.
Probably.
I
wasn't born yet, just for the record.
I'm sure you weren't. But we had over 340 people. It was packed in. It was great. And Jimmy did a great job. And as he always does, they do a phenomenal job with weddings. And they still do. And Billy and his team up there still have great stag parties and all kinds of events that they host. But I have fond memories of Club 86, and I know my wife shares that view. So, you're getting involved now with the Abigail's, and over the years, what has surprised you about the restaurant business as you has emerged? Is it the competitive spirit of trying to obviously do a good job and try to bring in as many patrons as possible? More is better in restaurant business? You'd rather have them, I guess, Liz, you'd rather have them waiting for a table than not coming in at all?
Waiting for a table, yes, but waiting for food, no.
I got it. There you go.
So, there's that fine line of, we want obviously the volume of business, but we don't want anybody to leave unhappy. I'd rather do
right.
20 fewer people and have everyone leave happy than
well, that's a good point.
Leaving.
That's a good point because, there's too many, not too many, there are a lot of restaurants in the area. Obviously, if they're unhappy with you, they're going to go somewhere else.
And they're going to tell all their friends.
And they're going to tell, and you know how social media is.
Oh, yes.
It's a lot different than 1984 when Abigail's began in that location. Social media can kill you, and it can help you, too. But, in my experience, I think we got to send out some love to a couple of people. And, of course, this is Weber This Week. I'm joined by good friend Liz Comatis, who's the manager of Abigail's. Been there. How long you've actually been working with Abigail's now?
Since I came back from Disney in 98, so about almost 20 years.
20 years. Liz is going over what she goes through and her team go through to try to make the visit of us that come in to eat, whether it be a light lunch, use the salad bar, have a nice meal, have a couple of drinks. And I'm thinking, before I go any further, there's a couple of people that, and I think, all of your team over there do a great job. But I wanted to spotlight a couple of people, if I may. Since it's my show, I need to spotlight a couple of people. And I want to talk about Marshall. I have met Marshall a few times. I know he does his thing in the kitchen. He does it very well. He is extremely proficient in the ability to create meals. He is well known throughout the state of New York with his wings. He's won some awards. And, of course, he just keeps on motoring along, doing a great job with the food.
He does. Very creative.
Very creative. And there's another guy that I would totally hit myself in the back of the head if I didn't spotlight. And I hope that Annie and that maybe he's checking out the show after we put it up on our fingerlikes1.com in an hour or so. But that's Woody. Now, you mentioned the name Woody. You think about, okay, who's Woody? Well, anybody who's gone to Abigail's over the last several years knows a guy named Woody. The times I've gone in there with Sandy and Jean, as you know, and they speak, we all speak volumes about Woody and how great he is. And no, Woody, I'm not doing this to get a free drink from you. I'm only saying the fact that I admire his ability to, he usually works the bar area, and he's got this knack to really understand what you want, because these are regulars that he's used to seeing.
Right.
He knows exactly what kind of mixed drink you're having, what kind of beer you're having, if you want coffee, if you want tea. And that's really, in the business of a restaurant, to have somebody employed like that, it's got to be priceless for you and your team.
It definitely is. He's been there almost since the beginning. Before working for us, he worked in the kitchen with my grandfather at Club 86. And then he left and went to Emil's for a little while. And he's been with us probably since 1986, 87. But he's phenomenal. Now, you mentioned that, he knows what you're going to drink or what you're going to order. But half the time he'll come up to me and say, what's her name? So he remembers select things, but don't let him fool you thinking that he's got it all down.
You must remember the Webers and Lopez's.
Well, the Webers and Lopez's, yes, those are. But a lot of people, they come in, they have a certain table, and he remembers everything about them except their name.
I know. Well, Woody, I got to tell you, when you get to be my age, it'll be a lot harder for you to remember people's names. But what I like about Woody is the fact that he doesn't rush you. He knows it's a process to eating, and he wants you to relax and course by course enjoy it. And so Woody, 2 thumbs up for you, buddy. You do a great job, and so does Marshall. And by the way, everybody out there does. I don't mean to just pick on two, but the show's only 30 minutes long. But I just wanted to send out a spotlight. And my wife, Mary, thinks the world of Woody, and I know she'd be the first to say, full hand that Mary and the Bunko Club and the Poker Club and these girls, they want Woody.
Yes.
They want Woody. And they just like the way he does it, and they appreciate his efforts. And I think that he gets a kick out of them coming in.
Oh, yeah, he does.
So let's talk a little bit about the restaurant business as you see it. Del Lago coming on board at the casino up the road from you a little bit, like a few miles, like 2 or 3 miles. Have you seen it affect either way? Has it helped you? Has it hurt you? Has it, in your opinion, has there been any, is it sort of straight lined with the casino coming in?
For a while they were doing the free buffet, and that hurt us a little bit. But now as the newness of the casino is wearing off, it's helping business a little bit in the fact that people are coming into the area, visiting, and they're not going to stay. Their rooms out there are expensive, so they're staying in one of the smaller local hotels located near us. So they're coming over for dinner afterwards, or stopping for lunch before they go out to the casino or something. So it's up and down.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. it's still amazing to me, and I work part-time there, as you know, working the bus area and handling that when the charters come in, which we are getting a lot of increase on. But, in the restaurant business, and I think your mom would agree, and I know your aunt would agree, it's a very tough business because on one hand, you want to offer dishes at reasonable prices, but on the other hand, you go back in the back office and you're looking at food prices from vendors. And normally, as you probably could be the first to make testimony, is they don't normally go down.
Correct.
Prices usually go up. So it's a it's a yin yang. You got to do the best you can with price structures, but then you also got to be aware of the food costs because you never want to put out a dish you're losing money on. So that's got to be a tough thing. Talk a little bit about that, which you are involved in. I know your mom is. So you're kind of looking at that, every couple of weeks, every month, on a monthly basis?
Yeah, pretty much, on a weekly basis, just a quick glance, then more in depth every week or every month. Mm-hmm. It's hard because we change our prices and, that's the first thing people comment on is, they raise their prices. And, I have 3 kids at home, a family of 4, sure. And I go to the grocery store. Every week I go to the grocery store, I'm paying more and more for what I bring home. So it's, I would like to think that the people would realize that, we're not raising prices to line our pockets.
Right.
We're raising our prices because, they're raising their prices.
Right. And to stay competitive,
And we do, we try to, if we can cut back a little bit, okay, maybe we'll serve,
sure.
3 less French fries, which nobody's going to miss, and then we can keep the price the same, or a little bit of a smaller portion.
Well, I got to admit, she brings up the fact that she goes to Wegmans a lot. And I was an eyewitness to her one day, if you remember. It was in the wintertime. Now that you bring this up, I got to share this story because my wife, Mary, likes to take her time going through every aisle, and I don't go aisles. I'm not an aisle guy. Jimmy knows about this. When I go into a store with Liz, I don't screw around. I always ask somebody where the ketchup is, what aisle. Get the bottle and I'm out the door in 12 seconds or less. I'm just not a guy that walks up and down. Mary loves to take her time.
It's our social time.
I know. She loves that. She loves that. And I admire her for doing that. But I park myself with the New York Post in the sitting area at Wegmans in Geneva, which is her favorite place. And it's kind of funny because while she is maneuvering through the Wegmans operation, and then, of course, she comes around to the cold meat section, and that's where I usually see her, and then we wrap it up and go cash out. But I did see, yes, Elizabeth Comatis with a couple of her kids, I believe, way back when. And I can't recall what do you call the push carts that was, I don't think it could have fit anything in that. It was like overflowing.
Usually is.
And I was cracking up because I needled you about it. I said, wow, God, is there anything left for us? And you laughed.
I get home and they still say there's nothing to eat.
Oh, my God. Yeah. That was funny. I did remember seeing that at Wegmans, but Wegmans is awesome anyway, so it's really enjoyable. Liz Comatis is my special guest here on the Weber Show. She, of course, is the manager of Abigail's Restaurant, a truly legendary restaurant. And Jeannie and Patty and Billy and everybody who's been involved, the ownership, have done a marvelous job. I've had the pleasure of going there many, many times and never had a bad meal. I've always enjoyed getting in there and relaxing and having a good time. And so, you coming in as the manager and elevating yourself with the hopes of, expanding your wings and expanding your abilities, which we know you have many. You talked about bringing in some new innovations. You talked about Abigail's announcing a rewards program. Touch on that a little bit. About
a year ago, we started our rewards program. It's when you sign up, you immediately will receive your membership card and a discount for $10 off your purchase. And then from there, we track your points, and every dollar spent is equal to a point. Once you hit 200 points, you'll get another discount for $10 off your next purchase. And I laughed because I started it last year after I had foot surgery, so I was home and had plenty of time on my hands to create the date, the spreadsheets and keep track of it. And now we're up close to 400 members.
That's great.
We send out birthday cards, anniversary cards, and it's good. It's bringing people back. A lot of our regulars love it. It's just a bonus for them.
Sure.
But it's giving us a lot more regulars and people that could come maybe once a month are now coming twice a month.
Sure. And, of course, another thing that you've done, I see you had a wing eating contest, a spaghetti eating contest, those types of side shows, which I think is not to make fun of it. They're having to bring people in and have some fun with it relative to having it how many wings you can eat in such and such a time or whatever. Those are kind of nice touches as well.
Right. We're just trying to do something a little bit different. People, there are, as you mentioned, there's a lot more competition now than there was when we opened back in '84. So people have a lot more choices to go to, and working for Disney, Walt Disney had said, build it and they will come, and that's not quite the case so much anymore. Mm-hmm. Now you have to set yourself apart and be a little bit different, provide something that the place down the street doesn't provide. So trying to do something a little bit different while still maintaining our level of service and quality food. We now have live music every Thursday night.
I was just going to talk about that. I think that was a phenomenal thing you came up with, and of course. I recommended a great star, a guy that's phenomenally very popular and
who's booked through the end of the year now for out any openings. But
he is amazing. Nate Michaels, we're talking about. This kid's got a lot of talent, and Liz, I don't think you knew about him until I brought it up to you.
Right.
And she got him in there, and myself and Sandy and Jean and Mary went out, and it was spectacular. I got to throw out some love to Nate. I mean, he's just the busiest guy I've ever seen in my life. He does a job at your place. He'll go somewhere else an hour later and do another gig. So anyways, I like that touch, and I think it's working out well for you. And I know that hopefully it continues, and hopefully you can bring in some extra patrons and some of those supporters and fans of those people.
That's what we're hoping, trying to build our database a little bit.
Exactly. Well, it's almost 20 after the hour. Liz Comatis, my friend, is joining us. She's the manager of Abigail's. We're sending some love to Abigail's, a place that I'm very familiar with, and a lot of people are. We're going to continue our dialogue with Liz after we hear from these great sponsors. Acting as a gateway to the Finger Lakes, Del Lago leverages the natural beauty and unique offerings while enhancing tourism in the region. The casino features 2,000 slot machines, 89 gaming tables, including 12 poker tables, portico by Fabio Viviani, a 2,400-person entertainment center, farmers market buffet. The hotel, spa, and banquet facility will open summer 2017. Cayuga Lake National Bank. Visit Bill Ryan and his team for all of your banking needs. Offices in Union Springs and Aurora, a fine sponsor of this show for over 30 years. DA Liquor on Bridge Street in Seneca Falls. Amy Padula and her team will find the right spirit for you every time. When you stop in, tell Amy the dog sent you. The Gold Hotel welcomes you to come out and enjoy the revitalization of this historic downtown Seneca Falls landmark. Every Wednesday is Ladies' Night with special price drinks and half-priced appetizers. Learn more at thegouldhotel.com. The Omen Theater on William Street in Lyons. See what's playing this week at omentheater.com. Located off New York State Thruway Exit 41, the McGee Diner has earned their reputation as a popular family restaurant, serving country fresh home-cooked meals daily. Stop in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and check out their menu at McGeeDiner.com. Seneca Metals is an award-winning company that has earned a reputation of going above and beyond to protect the environment and support their community. As an EPA inspector once said, their operation is head and shoulders above the rest. And the Newark Pilots of the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League, a minor league team with a major league ballpark. Season ticket packages available at NewarkPilots.com. And the Wilson Press in Seneca Falls. My good pal Rich Rickey and his team can handle all of your printing and mailing needs. Visit them online at wpress.com. Welcome back, everybody. It's a Dog with You, Weber This Week edition on a very toasty Monday, 25th of September, 2017. Over 90 today. And yes, I understand it's going to be this way a couple of days now until like Wednesday afternoon. Wednesday night, it's supposed to be breaking. You get a cold front coming in. It's going to be like mid-60s on Thursday and Friday. Then as Liz talked to me during a commercial break, it's going to go up again. So Hey, but this is rare. I mean, this type of is weird. Do you have a swimming pool?
My mother does.
Okay, good. Good old mom. Okay.
Gotta love her.
Gotta love her. Those swimming pools are great, huh? My daughter's got a pool, and I love Sammy Joe, so I take advantage of it once in a while when I'm up in the area. Liz Comatis, my special guest today on the Weber Show. Of course, the manager, working with her family and our mom and all the fine folks out at Abigail's. You mentioned about food costs, and there's something we almost forgot to touch on, and that's liquor costs. And I know you mentioned in your bio that you're involved in looking at the price structures of that and looking at inventory, controlling it, making sure you have the right stuff for the right occasions and so forth. That's going to be a difficult nut to crack, too, with the liquor.
That is. We're trying to become a little more standardized, back to shot glasses, back to old school. For a while, we kind of lost that, and, we could see where our liquor cost was increasing.
Right.
And that's where, the bulk of the profit should be.
Sure.
Is in the liquor. So, we're trying to be a little bit creative now, come up with some new drinks and some drink specials every week and doing some happy hour specials.
Yeah, I would think so. And I would think, and it's funny, here we are in the wine, one of the best wine areas in the entire country. The Finger Lakes region is known for wines. And I don't drink wine. I believe it or not, my two brothers, and Mary likes a glass of wine, as you know, but I never enjoyed it because I got stupid when I was a kid and drank some cheap stuff, and I never enjoyed it. When I could afford a real glass of wine, I won't even touch it. It's weird how I am with wine. I'm a Coors Light guy and a Bloody Mary guy, and once in a great while, a scotch and water, once in a great while. But with the wines that you have to select from Finger Lakes wineries, it would seem impossible to determine what you bring in because there's such an amazing selection, so much quantity in so many different wineries. How do you determine who you do business with and what kind of wines do you bring in?
It's really luck of the draw, maybe is a way to say it. Like you said, there's so many different wineries out there. The Finger Lakes area is known more for their white wines, their Rieslings, and their red. So we don't have a large selection of the red wines from the Finger Lakes for house wines. But a lot of it, they have different places to get it from.
Sure.
So, this one only goes through this salesman, this one only goes to that salesman. So when we are picking them, a lot of it is based on, okay, I order from these guys already, so let's bring in a different, winery that they carry instead of getting an additional vendor on. But we do, we love, this week we're having a wine dinner featuring wines from Glenora Winery. With Marshall paired up some wonderful creative dishes to go with some of the wines from Glenora, and the Glenora's going to come in and talk about the wines and pairing it with each course. But we have phenomenal wines in this area.
That's great.
I like to taste them all, and then I pick out which ones I like.
It's funny you say that. When I was working at the Gould Hotel at the front desk, our general manager with the head of the bar would go in the other room, and they would have a salesman come in and have like 15 bottles, and they were tasting. I'm going,
best part of my day.
It's quite a job. Quite a job. I got to send
mandatory.
I got to send some love to Abigail's too. I know there's a lot of dishes that I eat out of Abigail's. I usually sometimes do fried scallops, which I love. I love the prime rib out there as well. But there's one thing that I sometimes just order, and that's the giblets. To die for. If you're a giblet guy or a giblet lady, get a couple rolls, and those giblets are just hot enough to make it worth your while to eat them. I love them, and they do a great job. You guys do a great job with the giblets. I've sat out there many times with Mary, and she'd say, "What are you going to have?" I said, "I'm thinking, I'm going to have giblets." And then Woody brings over about 6 rolls, and I just dunk the rolls, and it was just good. So anyways, that's phenomenal. Well, Liz Comatis has been kind enough to carve out some time for us today. She's the manager of Abigail's Restaurant, a place that has been in existence since 1984 on Routes 5 and 20, of course, heading out of Seneca Falls. You can't miss it. So I urge it, if you've never been to Abigail's, it's hard to believe you're checking out the dog show that you haven't, but if you haven't, give it a try. They're an outstanding outfit. They do a wonderful job. They're very personable there, and the prices are very reasonable, and again, you'll find your experience to be a good one, and I certainly would urge anyone watching my show today that's never been to Abigail's. I think I would find it hard to believe there's anybody in the area that hasn't given it a try. Check it out, because I don't think you will be disappointed, because I know that your two biggest fans We try to get with Sandy and Jean on occasion, but we are booking another date. We'll call you soon.
Beautiful.
But Sandy and Jean are regulars because they once had a reserved table, and that table is still theirs.
It is.
I know. And they love your place. And
every Saturday night.
Yeah, they do. They love it. So, well, listen, I appreciate you taking time out. See, I told you this wasn't going to be too bad. We're almost at 3:29. Thank you for coming in, and continued success to you and your family, and to continued success to Abigail's restaurant, and of course you'll see me down the road quite soon, I'm sure.
Thanks, Harold. It was great being here.
I appreciate it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we part ways, I want to run down quickly a couple of upcoming shows that we have. Have you ever wondered how Del Lago Resort and Casino determines the acts they bring into town? As you all know, they have comedy nights on Thursdays. They have acts usually every Friday. Once every couple of weeks, there's somebody coming in. We went and saw Paul Anka the other night. Yeah, baby. He still got the old magic. Paul Anka and his background musicians were spectacular. Myself and Mary enjoyed it thoroughly. That's in our era. We had a great time. We're going to go check out Neil Sedaka coming up November 10th, my brother Bob's birthday. He's turning 75. Good for you, Bob. But anyways, hey, Neil Sedaka, the Paul Anka concert was it. But whoever decides on who they bring in, what these folks want as far as right kind of beverages, what kind of food, people that travel the road and do musical acts want certain requests when they come to a casino or to an entertainment center. We're going to have the guy that's in charge of that whole thing next Monday on the Weber Show. And his name is Jason Klug. He is the director of entertainment for Del Lago. He'll be on that chair sitting where Liz is next Monday. So check him out. He'll give us some good stuff about the entertainment business at Del Lago, which is fast and furious. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you can handle the heat. Take care, everybody. It's speaking for Liz Comatis along with Jimmy Senecrobe. This is a dog bidding you a farewell Monday afternoon.